All right, I'm going to have to use the microphone so that the recording, we can really hear it really good. It's just my multitasker is not working today. Okay. Let's get started. Thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for taking this training, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to record this well enough so that we can distribute this on Paycom to make sure that everybody knows something about these disaster kits that we have across the campus. To make sure, God forbid, we have Milton come over here and we have a disaster, so that staff knows what needs to be done. So everybody please sign in, get a worksheet, get a handout, and then also we have a family disaster plan if you have not received one yet. So that's what we're handing out today. I'm going to see, I'll probably make some of these things available in HR for those of you who are going to watch this training on Paycom. So let's get started. And the first thing that we have on the worksheet is a little bit of a pretest. What do you think? What is the purpose of us having these disaster kits? Why do we have them here at Seacrest Village?
Be prepared when we have a disaster.
Yes, right, to be prepared and to empower staff to be the help until help arrives. The reality is right now, many fire departments are short-staffed, just like everybody in long-term care. Sometimes they're even not funded enough, sadly enough. So we can't just say, oh, if something happens, we're going to call 911. We as a community, as we are, where we have multiple care levels, we have to be prepared to be an island for 72 hours. What does that mean? Right? We have to be able to meet the residents' needs in every area where nobody can get to us. So even if we would go in a 72-hour complete lockdown where nobody in, nobody out, meaning no supplies can get to us. Really, nobody can get to us. No fire department, nobody. We're an island. We have to be able to make sure that everybody on this campus is safe for 72 hours. Right? So the disaster kits are supposed to empower staff when we have to respond to a disaster, and that we have the basic supplies until the first responders can get here, so we are going to be the help until help arrives. Can we have you sign in? Thank you for coming. So did everybody get that answer? Just kind of scatter it down, right? It's disaster kits are to empower staff when we are responding to a disaster and to provide the basic supplies until the fire department or first responders can get here. So we have to be the help until help arrives. And there is actually a website. So if you Google help until help arrives, you will see there's a website and there's a lot of good information. There's a little short little video on there. It's really an awesome, I think it's produced by FEMA. So it's some good information. The next question is, what do you think? What are some of the supplies that should be in the disaster kit? Flashlights.
Tourniquets.
Tourniquets.
Pen and paper.
Pen and paper.
Tylenol, pain pill, medication.
Medication?
Is there
No.
Tylenol or anything?
Tylenol, I'm not maybe, maybe not.
Warm blankets. Flashlight.
the
Band-Aids.
disaster blankets,
Disaster blankets.
flashlights, Band-Aids,
Slings. Yeah, for
slings.
broken arms.
I'm not sure if we have those. I'm trying to think of what we do and don't have,
Oh, yeah.
right?
I thought I
You,
picked it
you,
up.
you see the size?
Yeah, I cheated. I think I picked it up.
Right? Yeah. Good for you. Because we need to know, right? Especially those of us that are in charge and then are supposed to be the incident commander in your care level, but also from campus-wide, right? We kind of have to have a little bit of an idea. And we're going to look at everything that is in there, okay? We're going to look at every little detail. The next question, where are they located? Does anybody know offhand?
All of them or just your department?
All of them,
Oh, gosh.
right?
You should have a disaster room in your unit, of course. Like a designated.
There's a designated spot for each of them, yes, and I will show you.
And are they in each building?
There's one in almost every building, yes. We have 5 kits. One is in building A, building B, building D, building E, and building G.
Can you repeat that?
A, B, D, E, G.
Can you just read, what is E?
Cats and residents.
G?
G is where we're in right now.
Oh.
So downstairs in the storage. Yeah, this here, where we are, is building G.
Can we
Is
use
it
that?
say, you know, which rooms are they?
Yeah, I have a map. Yeah, come. I have a map.
I want to teach everybody all the letters and how to remember it. Took me a while. You ready for this?
Yeah.
A, of course, is the A building for all. Everybody, it's just, you know, everybody lives there. That's the easy one. B is the second one, GHC. Those are the first 2. And then I always get confused after B, right? C is for corporate, right? That's up in arms. Well, this one is probably only applicable to me, but if you work there, you'll remember. D is for dad. It's where my father lives, in assisted living. E is for everyone, which is cats. I don't know why I remember that, but I do. It's everyone. G is for God, because we're in the temple. I don't know. I just. And F is for fancy.
Right?
It took me a while to come up with that, guys. I've been here 8 years, and I've been walking around these buildings and I couldn't remember stuff.
Good job. Awesome. Okay, so that was a little bit about the pre-test, a little bit of basic knowledge. Right? So this is what it looks like when they're all next to each other. Right? Pretty impressive, I think. So, by the way, we are one of the only communities in this county that has this in place. I'm trying to get I'm nagging everybody else, and then one of those days I will succeed. Maybe Milton will help me a little bit with this and you know, get some common sense going that we really need to be a little bit more prepared.
Does anything expire in those?
Okay, I have one of my staff members, every week she goes to one of them and goes through the list and makes sure that everything is okay, looks at every expiration date and makes sure that nothing is expired and that nothing is missing. So it's not just a box that's standing around somewhere. I go in there every week, so every 5 weeks we are in every box to make sure that because it's no good if people use it as a supply cabinet and then here comes the disaster and we are missing items that we really would need. Right? So that's why I try to have it as a program. Okay? So here's building A. Right? Building A. What was it all? Right? And that's over in where the volunteer coordinator is, right? Under the office, underneath the stairs, that's where that is. Okay? Building G, God's building, that's where we're in right now. Downstairs in the fitness center in the storage room. Building D, first floor, when you walk in the door to the left in hub B, right? That's where it is in assisted living for that. And E is in the hub. What was E?
Everyone.
Everyone.
Everyone's welcome.
Okay. And then B. Where is it in B? Where do you have it now? Y'all keep moving it.
B, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there by the, it's called the disaster.
The disaster room?
Disaster.
Oh,
Right next to the trash
Who
room, yeah.
always looks at it like us a disaster.
That's the disaster.
Because it looks like a disaster.
No, disaster room.
It's a disaster. Sorry, the trash can.
Yeah, it's called outside
By the
door.
trash can.
It says
Yeah.
disaster room.
By the
Yeah.
trash cans.
It's by the dining room. By the
Yes.
dining room.
Right? Yeah. So if you're standing in front of the
I
nurse's
thought
station,
every
if you're
building has a disaster room. because we
No,
had
no,
one,
no,
yeah.
welcome to the storage reality.
Yeah, okay.
No, right? Doesn't work that
So
way.
we're special.
We wish, yes. Okay? So, and this is what the checklist looks like. So I have, Essie actually goes around once, every Sunday, she goes, opens the box, and makes sure that all the supplies is still in there. Right?
Find
'Cause-
things coming up missing or no?
No,
People
No,
are pretty
'cause
respectful.
these little tags that we put on there are deterrent enough.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't have to put a lock on it, just that little deterrent is enough. And maybe my nagging, you know. Okay, so let's start, what is all in there? So we have a bunch of office supplies, right? Because when the emergency hits, that's not the time. We have office supplies all over the place, but we need to make sure, because these boxes are mobile, right, that wherever we go, that we have it right there with us. And I'm going to show you guys really quick how to open these, right? A couple of things before I start on the supplies. Sorry, I have to multitask, right? So these are very, very mobile, okay? We can roll them, and if we have too much debris, we can put the handle down, and then we can carry it, and even I, who doesn't have enough strength, so we can carry it if need be, and then we're going to open it. And very easy here, you just snap it open. These are the same tacks that are on the fire extinguishers, right? When we're pulling the pin, twist and pull, it's the same tacks. So they really are not that very resistant, but down here, sometimes if it is too tight, we can just use a key.
Come on, show and tell is not working. Or we can
Full
twist it.
edge, squeeze and sweep.
Right? There we go.
Yeah, you can literally just twist it to get it open, okay? And then there's all these different compartments.
That's the top. Alright. And this is the rest.
So that's what it looks like unfolded. So right, no matter where you are, if you need to go over there and respond to the disaster, and you have victims, you have people that are hurt, or we're doing the search and rescue, you can take that with you. So let's look at right up here. That's the tray with all the office supplies. All right. Sorry. Okay, and then we have in here, we have a bunch of envelopes. Why would we have envelopes in here? If we have victims and they have any valuables on them, we could just stick them in the envelopes and put the names on there and then keep it with the resident or with the patient, right? So that we don't lose the valuables. And that can be anything. Right? There's a pad, so we can make notes. As you know, if we didn't document it, it didn't happen. Right? Somebody has to make notes. Even if you just scribble. As long as you can read the scribbles afterwards. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, but at the time I was just, maybe we'll switch it out to Ziplocs. You know, good idea. Yeah. But it's hard.
Through several hurricanes, and being this close to the water, you definitely want to live
It's actually a good idea. Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
you have Sharpies in there?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Right? Yeah, good idea. Can somebody please write that down before I have a senior moment? Okay. Then, of course, we have a first aid kit in here, and each kit has 2 tourniquets. Okay, those are in here as well. And then, of course, we have the blanket. So if we come across a victim and they're in shock, we can keep them warm. I know this looks like nothing, but these keep you warm for a while. So if you have put it under a regular blanket, right, like we have in skilled nursing, all the sheets, that keeps you warm for a little bit. Keeps you from going into shock. Okay, and then of course we do have the bottle for eye wash, but that is just to respond right on the spot, right? If we come across somebody that has some dirt or dust in their eyes, we have our regular eye wash stations, but again, right, if we have the doomsday and they don't function, at least we have something, right? Okay, so that's the top up here. The other thing that we have in here is also the access card. Okay, and this is an access card. Don't put that around because it's easy for people to go and take it, but it gives access to all the doors. Right? Because hopefully the door readers are still working, and right? And then at least we can get in. On the back of this is instructions for triage. Okay? Because a lot of times people are not trained on triage. Who should be doing triage with us if we really have a disaster where we have a mass casualty? Who would be doing that? Right? If we have an RN available, that would be awesome. If we have an LVN available, awesome. If it's a CNA, or if it is somebody that's trained on triage. Okay, because that's not, anybody know what triage stands for? Sorting. We're sorting the victims, right? We'll get to that in a minute. But that's the access card that we have in here to make sure that everybody has access. Okay, hold on, let me see. Where are we? Okay. There. Flashlights, headlights. Right? There's 3 headlights in each box. And this is something that you should have in your personal disaster kit. Because if we need to respond, like right now, I only have one hand, right? It's a handicap. But when we have to take care of victims or anything, we need to have both of our hands free. And then we just have the headlights. Now, it's a fashion statement, I tell you that. But hey, it gets you both hands free, and you can take care of whatever you need to take care of without constantly having to put the flashlight down. There's ample batteries in here, and they're not in here on purpose because we don't need them to corrupt. There is an expiration date on there, and again, right, we pay attention to that, and then we exchange them before they expire. Okay. We also have these tags. So if we really need to evacuate and we have somebody that may or may not be, sure what their name is, or, somebody with memory care, or they're temporarily confused, we can put their names on there. So that when we have to evacuate, then by the time they get to the relocation spot, we can identify the residents, right? Okay, that's the tags. Right, there's the triage tags. Right, so ours have the little cord, little attachment to it. Right, so we can put it on. There's the names, all the information, how badly they hurt, and then if somebody is only a little bit hurt, we leave the green one on. A little bit more hurt, we take the green off. And the red part, when you're seriously hurt, And then, of course, the black is if somebody's expired. Okay? God forbid we ever have to use that. But that's a quick assessment, a quick sorting. You should spend no more than 2 minutes, which is each victim, if you're the one that does the triage. That's not where you revive. Right? And if somebody is interested, there are triage courses, or you can go take them with the CERT and really get trained on triage. This is not what we do every day, right? When we are every day, we really take care as soon as we come across somebody that needs any kind of assistance, any kind of medical or first aid. We take care of that. But when there is a disaster and you have mass casualties, no more than 2 or 3 minutes with each victim, the one that does the triage. And then people come afterwards and do the treatment.
Okay.
Okay, so when do we triage? We do triage if there are more victims than rescuers, right? So if you're coming on scene, let's say we had in one of our buildings, it was that badly damaged, and then we have more people that are hurt than we have those that are rescued. That's when you do the triage, right? When there is limited resources and the time is critical, that's when we have to triage, right? And those are the 3 things that we're looking for. Breathing problems, excessive bleeding, and the shock. Hence the blanket, right? So it's really just, there's more to it. Your local fire department, they offer a course, 25 to 28 hours. If anybody is interested, let me know. Every local fire department does that. I got trained here by the Encinitas Fire Department, but you can also do it in your city. So you can do it either with the city where you work or the city where you live. Right? And then I have these triage tags in here as well. Does it stop the bleed? Somewhere in here. Of course, I can't find it right now. But, right, how do we do the triage? I don't want to get into this right now, but this shows a little bit what do we look for if you're the one that has to do the triage. Okay. Again, there is that access card, the back of the access card that we have, so that whoever is doing the triage gets a quick reminder. Right? Okay. The next part that we have supplies for is for search and rescue. Right? So let's say, God forbid, we really had a big earthquake, and now we have to go through the building and we have to search for victims. Right? In order to meet some of the CMS requirements, we are now going to install, and I haven't had a chance to do that yet because I have to still read the instructions myself. We're going to have this NOAA National Weather Radio. We're going to have this stationed at the front desk. Okay? And then we're going to turn it on, and if there is any kind of weather, a tornado, a flood, a hurricane, a fire, or an earthquake, the alarm will go off, and then the front desk can alert the whole campus and say, hey, oh my God, right, the zombies are coming. Right?
That's on the weather station.
Yes. I hope they will let us know. Right?
A little bit too late.
Yeah, I know. But then we're going to exchange the radios that we've had so far, our crank radios. We're going to exchange that to radios that also have NOAA, right, the National Weather, on there. So they will be exchanged in the kit, so that we now have these in the kits as well. So then you can have those in your buildings. Okay, so, and these you can charge 5 different ways. You can charge them by cranking. If we still have power, we can charge them that way. They can also be charged by solar, and batteries. Okay, so we should be able to get the communication from the National Disaster Radio and always know what's going on. Okay. So a little bit back to search and rescue. Of course, we need the dust mask. If we're going around in the buildings that just had some damage, there is the gloves and the face shield. The workers' gloves, if we have to remove rubble so that we don't get hurt, right? And when we were under construction, back then the construction company, they donated all the helmets, the safety helmets. We have the safety goggles, right? And of course this, and the prior we have in there. And this is a whistle. So if you're the one that is doing the search and rescue, you should have a whistle with you, because if you, and during the aftershock, you get buried yourself, you can use that whistle so people can find you. Okay, and here's a quick tip on how to do search and rescue if we, now we are fairly familiar with our building, but if you have to search and rescue in a building that you're not familiar with, you should have somebody standing outside that is kind of your safety person, and then you tell them, all right, I'm going to go in and I'm going to stay to the right. And then you go all the way around the right, and I'll keep going all the way around through the whole building, and then eventually you will come out here. That's the safest way in how you can search a whole building and make it out eventually yourself. Because if there's no light, you're not familiar, it's the easiest way to get out. And as you know, we have these search tags in all of our boxes with the fire extinguishers, right? So if we, God forbid, we do have to do the search and rescue, we have to go through each room and make sure and find some victims and find the residents. Afterwards, we can hang these on the door on the way out, so that we're not duplicating our efforts. Right? So there's ample of those in our fire boxes, fire extinguisher boxes. All right, let me see. Another one for search and rescue, of course, if we are coming across somebody and they really are having a traumatic, they're bleeding. Right, we have the trauma kit so we can stop the bleeding. Right, besides the tourniquet. There's the tourniquet. There are instructions in the booklet here. There's instructions for stop the bleed. Right, and hopefully one of those days I'll have the volunteers come back and do the stop the bleed training with us. Okay. There's also the instructions for the stop the bleed. One of the things that is sometimes surprising to people when they hear this training for the, ooh, that's not where I wanted to go. When they hear this, when you put on a tourniquet, that victim will get really angry with you because it hurts. And they will tell you, no, take it off. I don't care, I'd rather bleed to death. And you cannot take it off. Right, until medical personnel gets there, and then they will take it off. So it really hurts, because you have to turn that tourniquet until the bleeding stops. And that takes a while, and that squeezes whatever limb that you're trying to stop from bleeding. Yes. So, you ready? Right. And then, of course, we have our awesome mega movers. These are actually the fire department, they have these on their trucks, right? So when they're coming into a situation where they are having a hard time, sometimes in buildings where the stairwells are not wide enough, right? They have a hard time using their gurney and their equipment, then they use this one here. And we've had it where they came in and I offered them to use this, and they were really happy because the resident, I remember there was one case, the resident had wedged herself into a position where they just couldn't get in, but then they were able to use the mega movers and get the resident then on their gurney. So this is awesome. Yes, we have the evacuation chair in assisted living, but we have only one in assisted living, right? What if we have in building F or building A or D or E, right? We have that resident that we need to carry out because the earthquake destroyed our building, right? So then we have enough, because we have 2 in each box. 2 times 5 is 10. That will speed up the evacuation, right?
Up to how many pounds for that?
350. All right. And that's actually, right? Am I right? Yes, 350. Woo-hoo! Right? Okay. You know my calendar for December. We did yesterday, we did already the fire extinguisher training. I did the presentation for the residents. Next week, we have the shakeout. 10:16 at 10:16. That's where we're all going to pretend that the earth is shaking. So what would we do right now if the earth was shaking right now? What would you do?
Cover.
Drop, cover, and hold on. Is anybody going to go for a door frame? No, right? Because especially right now, by the time we get to the door frame, the earthquake will have knocked us off our feet already, right? When that earth is shaking, we're going to have to look around, and if you are around residents, at that point, all you can do is give verbal instructions, and hopefully they will listen or they will be able to process that, right, depending on their cognitive awareness. But we're going to have to encourage residents that are in a wheelchair to just put the brakes on and hold on. And everybody else, please drop, cover, and hold on. You will get resistance. Because the residents, all they're thinking about in that moment is, oh, how am I going to get back up? But it's the safest way for them to land softly. But if the earthquake knocks them off their feet, they're going to have a hard landing. Right? So trying to get the resident to drop, cover, and hold on is going to be not that easy. But you're going to drop, cover, and hold on. No running during the earthquake. If it's a 4.1, okay, go ahead, run. But when it really, you will know the difference, right? When it's really shaken. Does that make sense? So, all right, let me see, what else do I have here? The CERT course, there's a little bit of an overview. If anybody wants to have some information on that, please let me know. I'll be happy to send that to you. Okay? All right, any questions to our disaster kit? Okay, post-test. Let's see if y'all paid attention. What PPE equipment can you find in our kits?
Mask, gloves,
Shield.
And then
face shield.
Right?
It didn't say gowns. Is a gown in
No,
there?
there's no gown in there. No. You know, they're only that big. Right? We have a whole PPE room, and hopefully we can get to the PPE room and then bring that on scene. Does that make sense? Right? Yeah. Okay. Next question. Circle the correct answer for these 2 basic first aid questions. For chemicals in the eye, you should what? Right. Flush for at least 15 minutes. Hopefully you guys all know where we have our eye wash stations. I have a map for that too. Okay. Next one, why is it recommended to cover a victim of shock? Yeah, maintain the body core temperature, right? Somebody's in shock, they will lose it. They will start freezing really, really quick. Okay? Hold on, I gotta follow along here. Yeah. So, identify the color codes for the triage. What's green? What's black? What's red? And yellow? Delayed. Exactly. Good job, y'all. Okay. What equipment can you find for search and rescue? Oh, I skipped the question. Huh. Yeah, I did. Sorry. There we go. What equipment do we have for in the disaster kit for search and rescue?
Whistle, headlight,
Dust mask, hard hat.
All of the above, right? Yes, so that we can keep the rescuers safe. God forbid we have an aftershock. Okay. What's the first principle of trauma care response when using the Stop the Bleed trauma pack?
For the tourniquet.
Assure your safety. Your safety. If you are somewhere, let's say, God forbid, we're in an active shooter situation, and there's somebody a couple of feet from you, they're bleeding to death, but the bullets are still flying, we don't do so good catching bullets. Your safety has to be first, right? Unfortunately. Does that make sense? Okay. The Mega Mover transport chair is rated to transport up to 350. It is recommended to use 2 to 4 persons to provide safe transportation, though reducing the responsibility of exactly. Right? Just think of some of our residents. They are tall, right? We're going to need at least 4 people if we really have a tall person, right? And then the last one, if anybody's interested in getting some information about CERT, please let me know, okay? Any questions?
Thank you, Virginia.
Thank you, everybody. God bless you all for doing what you're doing every day. Thank you for putting up with me. And you can keep it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
are you calling off sick?
She did one in our building the other day.
Thank you, Regina.
Plastic Ziploc bags.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Martha, did you make a note? The Ziploc bag, the plastic Ziploc bags. Exactly. Did you make a note? Yes. Ziploc bags and,
Electrician's gloves, because you never know something.
yeah, I don't wanna.
It's not gonna save you if you step in it, but
No.
you're moving rubble, you need to power support.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, very good, thank you. Yes, yeah, that's why we have the difference.
I
Yes.
lived through like 6 Category 5 hurricanes, but the best ones sometimes.
I think this one is. Thank you, Josh. Yay. Any questions?
No. If I do all.
Okay, yes, please. Was that yours?
It's actually the front desk.